So, a bit more of an overview of what we do at All Aboard Ohio. So, like I said, we advocate for the establishment, improvement, and maintenance of the transportation system. And as we make any decision as a board, we look at our organizational values that help us to guide us there. So first, we believe in improved transportation choices for all. This means people in the cities, people in small towns, and people in between. And we believe that people should be able to choose. They can take a car, but they could also bike, they could walk, they could take a train or a bus. And we want to make sure that all of those options are available to them, because that's really what America is all about, is the ability to choose what you want to do. We also believe in statewide collaboration, and we're super proud to see everybody from around the state here today. Additionally, community empowerment. We want to make sure that our local partners who are also advocating for local issues can feel empowered and can work closely with us. I know we've got our friends from Transit Columbus here, we've got some folks from Civic Cincinnati, Cleveland is for public transit, all across the state. And we also want to be catalysts for change. So we know that so many people in the state believe in this, but a lot of folks just don't know where to start. And so we want to be the organization that shows where we can start to make this happen. So with all those values in mind, I want us to kind of pull apart our chief strategy real quick to get us in the mindset of why we're here today. So our strategy is bringing together stakeholders and influential coalitions to take advantage of the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that's presented by the Corridor ID program, which is in the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. All Aboard Ohio will act as a liaison in assisting that coalition to achieve our vision by uniting leadership to navigate the Corridor ID program. So that's a lot of words. Let's go kind of sentence by sentence here real quick. And we'll start off with our stakeholders in the coalition. Okay. So first of all, we are all across Ohio, and this is an important fact for our coalition. We have board members all across the state, and a little bit later we will introduce many of our new board members. But for maybe real quick, board members who have joined in the past year on the board, please raise your hand. So, excellent. Yeah, let's give them a welcome. Another exciting fact is that we've got general members in all 33 Senate districts, and we have the goal by the end of the year to have members in every single House district and every single county, because there truly are people all across the state of Ohio who want this. We also have chapters in most of our major cities, and again, we have members in urban areas, in suburban areas, and in rural areas, and we're so proud of that. As some examples of some of the fun stuff going on in our chapters, some of our chapter leads sent in some images and some updates. We've got really cool field trips going on in Northeast Ohio where they visited the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. They've had presentations from local leaders, and they've also had some really cool Zoom sessions where they've learned about things like North Carolina. So we already have some experts here today when Jason's here in a bit. Here's some pictures, and look how fun everybody is having. Yay trains, right? Additionally, in Southwest Ohio, we have some other chapter updates. We did a union terminal visit where we presented to a lot of young professionals who are outside of our organization. We went to visit the largest model train display in the US, which is pretty cool. It was located in Southwest Ohio. And then we've done a lot of tabling where we are getting out into the general public and making sure that as many people as possible know what the possibilities are. Including partnering with Metro to teach people how to ride buses, because so often riding public transit, the number one issue that people have is the barrier to entry of not knowing how to do it. So we guide people through how to download the app, for instance, how to connect your credit card, how to be able to read the map and the schedule. And it's building that confidence so that people feel welcome when they are actually using the stuff that is funded already. And then in all of our chapters, attendance continues to grow. And I guess to note, we've got great attendance in Cincinnati, in Columbus, in Cleveland, in Dayton. We're working on building up our Toledo chapter. And we also, I'll talk about it in the member update, but we've got some other ones in the works. Additionally, we've got stakeholders all across the state. And when I say all across the state, I don't just mean geographic. I mean all across the state in terms of ideologies and in terms of other things that they care about. So as you can see here, we've got local governments, we've got metropolitan planning organizations, we've got the finance industry, we've got the construction industry, we've got labor, we've got universities, we've got other advocacy groups. And all of these organizations that are up here have done something with us in the past year to help move our movement forward. And I think it really speaks to the passion that exists even outside of our organization for this issue. So back to our chief strategy. Once in a lifetime opportunity that presents itself via the Corridor ID program funding. So it truly is once in a lifetime. We've had other opportunities for passenger rail in Ohio where we haven't been able to move forward with it. But this one is special because it provides additional guidance on how to get it done in a timely manner and how to get people comfortable with what can be a new idea for many. It was a part of the Bipartisan infrastructure law, and it supports development of state-supported routes, so routes that the state will actually help to fund, in this case Ohio, of course, and there's a multi-step approach. These are the 3 corridors which have been funded, or which are going through the process for Corridor ID. There's the 3 C&D connecting Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, and Cleveland. There's also the Cleveland, Toledo, Detroit corridor. And then there's the Midwest Connect corridor, which would start in Chicago, stop in Lima on the way to Columbus, Steubenville on to Pittsburgh. So All Aboard Ohio acting as a liaison and assisting the coalition to achieve the vision by uniting leadership. We have put our advocacy in high gear this year. I think many of our friends at the State House probably wish I didn't call as much as I do, but it is what it is. We also had a tremendous advocacy day back in March where we met with the offices of 54 senators and representatives in a single day. And we had a great time. We're building relationships, and we're showing that we are the organization that you can come to if you have questions about what's next. If you want to bounce ideas off of us, or if you have concerns, we're happy to debate, for sure. So again, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make this happen, to make Ohio have an additional option for people to get around. And I think it's important to note that some people right now have 0 options. There are people who live in rural areas who are unable to drive a vehicle, who right now cannot get around. And that's a disservice to Ohio citizens, and it's something that we feel very strongly about, and we're excited to make that change. Okay. So with that, now I'll go into a couple of thoughts on our theme today. Last year, if you recall, for our folks who were there, was Ohio's Rail Renaissance. And this was taking a notice at this tremendous new opportunity that had come up, and noting the change in the momentum and passion that we have in the state. Coming out of a time when people were really disappointed at the prospects for passenger rail. I know around 2010, we had a really disappointing decision that happened, and we are now working to make sure we don't make that decision again. And we were hinting at the future in the Ohio Rail Renaissance theme, but today we're going 100% in on the future. Ohio's future built by rail. And we're gonna focus in on 3 different points for the future of Ohio today. We're going to look at Ohio's economic future. Why do those banks care? Why do the chambers of commerce across the state endorse this? Why do the universities want this? It's because of money, because as we all know, money is what makes our state work. But we also want to point at Ohio's societal future. What does this mean for everyday citizens in Ohio? How do we get new young people moving to Ohio? Because I'll tell you, many of the large corporations in Ohio, that's what they want right now, is young talent coming to our state. And what do young people want? They want options. They don't want to be prescribed the way they're going to live. And lastly, we're going to talk about your future. Because again, it's really at the end of the day, this is a story, this is 11 million different stories, because there's 11 million of us here in Ohio, and we all deserve this. So we're going to go through a couple examples of specific people who are going to benefit from this. And we did a really cool thing on our website where folks can put in, why does this matter to you? And I know we actually have a poster outside where you can add your own post-it note for why passenger rail matters. We're going to share a couple of those stories because I think it's really cool. I will say though, the future does have skeptics. As many of you are aware, anybody who has brought this up at a dinner table conversation, people do push back. The first pushback that I've heard is, this is all hypothetical. We can say, build it and they will come, but how can you prove it that they'll come? Well, let's take a glimpse into the future and look at a couple of places where it has been built, where it's not hypothetical. We'll start off in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I had the pleasure to be able to travel the past couple of weeks. The photo on the right here is Copenhagen in 1970. The photo on the left is Copenhagen 2 years ago. The businesses on this corridor have seen a tremendous increase in traffic between this photo and this photo because people are comfortable to live there. People also, though, are still taking cars. There's parking underneath, but there also are other options. In this first picture on the right, there was very little cycling infrastructure, and there was very little rail infrastructure. And as a result of that, people would not come from the small towns around Copenhagen to come in to shop. On the left, you can see it has been built, and they came. And we're going to do the same here in Ohio. Here's some of the things that they did build. And yes, this building did cost money, right?
Oh my goodness.
But all of the people that live in all of those dots, all of those towns are benefiting, and all of the businesses, and all of the universities, and just society as a whole. People are happier because they have the ability to choose. Here's examples of the crazy number of bikes that go to their train stations. The one on the left is a subway station. The one on the right is their central station. And literally thousands of bikes where people are doing multimodal transportation every single day. Next up, this can never happen in the US, which is what I have heard even since I've gotten back from Copenhagen, right? Okay, yeah, it can happen in other parts of the world, but could it really happen here? Northern Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. There was a new rail line that started a couple of years ago called the Borealis, which I've been able to ride actually. And it is, as this article says, setting a standard for US regional rail growth. When they did the initial studies on this, there was a ridership estimate that was provided. And in the first year of operations, ridership exceeded that estimate by over 30%. People are taking this to universities. There's a bunch of regional universities that are at those dots across Wisconsin, but then they're also taking it for business, people commuting from Chicago to Milwaukee, and me personally, I flew into Chicago to be able to get to St. Paul cheaper. Build it, and they will come. How can you prove people will ride it? Well, we're going to hear a little bit more about this afternoon. But we're going to focus in on North Carolina today. That's the secret. North Carolina is a very similar state to Ohio in a lot of regards, and especially in terms of the distribution of our population, where we have major cities that can be termini, I guess, on a route, and then many mid-major cities along the way. Columbus is a major city, for the record. I don't mean that it's a mid-major city, but and the point is, when they built North Carolina Rail originally, they started off with 3 trains a day. And now, due to an increase in demand and those trains being overbooked, they're up to 5 trains a day. Build it, and they will come, and they'll ask for more. So again, let's look at your future. Here are some direct quotes from individuals who added this on our website. We had somebody who's a new Ohio resident who would love safe, fast, and inexpensive option to get between cities without a car. I think rail connectivity in the Midwest will lead to better economic outcomes in the region as well. This is somebody who decided to move to Ohio, and if you just moved here, you're probably considering if you want to stay here. And if transportation is on their mind, then we need to prove to them that that's a reason to stay there, not a reason to leave. On the right, we have a grandmother in Dayton whose children live in Cleveland and says if there is rail service, it would be extremely helpful to her, especially as she ages and doesn't want to drive the 3+ hours and taking us for our work. We actually, just on TikTok the other day, we had a comment on one of our videos, and it was a viewer saying that her relationship with her sister would be better than it is now if she was able to get between Columbus and Dayton easier.
Okay.
Your future.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, a business owner in Cincinnati who says that he wouldn't take the train, but that he still wants it because it will bring more people to his business.
Yeah.
And on the right, a college student in Steubenville, one of the over 20% of Ohioans who do not have access to a motor vehicle right now, who says he wants to travel to Columbus on weekends for events and to see friends while he's at community college. And with a train, he won't need to worry about a car and making sure to have a safe ride home.
Yeah.
Again, this is your future we're talking about.
Yeah.
The last one, the future has its skeptics, and the #1 skepticism that I receive as a rail advocate in Ohio. I want it, but it will never happen in Ohio specifically. They don't believe in the political future for passenger rail in Ohio. But I want to go through all of the elements here. #1, federal government. Our friends in DC have allocated $80 billion for passenger rail. Those $80 billion will be distributed all across the country.
Yay!
Yeah. All across our state, city halls have signed on with passion. As a part of our budget process, we had letters of support from cities all across the state, and those went directly to the State House to be heard. Now let's talk about the individuals. We recently gave ODOT some fun by showing up to, I believe, 10 out of their 12 information sessions for Access Ohio, which is their long-term planning that they're doing for their transportation plan. We had people show up in places like our big cities, like Cincinnati and Cleveland and Columbus, but also in some of our smaller cities. Stand by. Some of our smaller cities like Lima and Youngstown, we had people all across the state. One of the things that they presented One of the things that they presented at the beginning of that session was a survey that they had done, which was statistically significant. They were very proud that it was representative of the population of Ohio. And in this survey, they asked, how much does it matter to you to improve the public transportation network in Ohio and to improve the rail network in Ohio? And for both of those questions, more than 75% of Ohioans said that it's at least important, if not very or extremely, to improve those two systems. Ohioans want this. There's some Ohioans for reference.
Yeah.
Additionally, look, again, it's our stakeholders. The institutions want this all across the state in all dimensions of our society. So good, now we have, if we remember back here, we have federal government, we have local government, we have people, we have institutions. What's left in this puzzle?
Oh.
State government.
State government.
And they're obstinate.
Well, I don't know about that, but that's why we're here. That's why we're advocating, okay? And we need to make sure that we prove the value and that we prove why this is a good thing, and that's what today is about. And so that's what we're going to do today, and I look forward to work with everybody who we've gone through on this list as we go forward into Ohio's future.